Hi everyone, it's Nicole here from Mama Elephant with a Wish Upon a Star Bunny Scene card. This is a brand new stamp set for the March 2019 release, full of these sweet little bunnies, clouds, and fantastic sentiments that coordinate with this. I am using the Cloudy Day cover with the images from the Wish Upon a Star set. I'm going to mask off the edge from the stitching line to the outside border. This is going to add an instant matte to my background without having to matte this on another color of cardstock or trim it down. This cover measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches, which is A2 size. This is going to fit a standard size card front. And so I like having that instant look of dimension without actually adding any dimension to the card. Using the life-changing brushes, I am applying regular dye inks to this Neenah Smooth White die cut background. I find the life-changing brushes work fantastic with any dye inks you might already have on hand. I'm using Fawn, Forget Me Not, and Moonstone inks for a beautiful bluish violet background. After I inked the entire background, I did mask off the cloud borders and add just a little additional ink directly to those clouds to really add some definition. This cloud border is really, cloud cover is really amazing because it cuts out that little shape so there's more definition of the clouds. Next, I'm going to take the stamps that I think I want to use for my background and just lay them out so I can gauge where I want to stamp my sentiment. I started out with just a couple of the images from the stamp set and decided to stamp more than just those two, which I'll show you here in a second. I'm going to go ahead and take a greeting from the stamp set. This reads, "I love you to the moon and back." We're going to stamp this along the bottom edge of the card front with the Fawn Forget Me Not ink. In addition to the sentiment, I'm going to take stars in all 3 sizes from the stamp set. These are the solid images. There's also outlines if you would rather color in your stars in any color you choose. And I'm going to stamp those all over the background. I've stamped the first 2 images that I am going to use for my card on some Neenah Smooth White cardstock with Hero Arts Intense Black ink. We're going to quickly color these in with COPIC markers. I've listed the colors of markers I'm using across the top of the screen. I'm using Y21, 23, 35, and 38 for the moon and the hanging star. The moon is a really prominent feature on this card as the background is all blue. A lot of the accents on the card are going to have blue in them, and the bunnies are a neutral light warm gray. So this big pop of color with the moon really sets off the card. The bunnies, as I mentioned, are all colored with shades of warm gray, with warm gray 0, 0, 1, and 5, with a little R00 for the cheeks. I've taken my warm gray 1 and added little dot detail to the bunny tail. Instead of coloring it in with solid colors, I like that little dot detail. It gives texture to the bunny. For the bunny with the little angel wings, we're going to use blue violet 0000 and BV00 for kind of a lilac shade of wings. I love these for butterfly wings, all kinds of wing images. And then once these are cut out, we're going to go ahead and glue these in place on the background, tucking that moon underneath the edge of one of the clouds. After I've tucked it under the edge, I went ahead and took some glossy accents, and I'm going to apply this all over the moon. Normally, I'd like to add this at the end so I don't have to worry about getting my hand in it or anything like that. But today, about this point, I decided I wanted to add additional images, and I figured while I was stamping and coloring those extra images for my scene, this could go ahead and start drying since it's a pretty big surface area. I'm even going to add some to the star hanging there from the tip of the moon. In addition to these two images, we are going to use pretty much everything in the stamp set today. I did add some Nuvo crystal drops in White Blizzard to the angel wings so that they will be sparkly instead of just glossy. I'll also attach this card base to a white top fold, or this panel to a white top fold card base. And you can see that there are some really big wide open areas where I feel like I can now fill in with these additional images. So we've got the bunny sitting in a cloud, kind of fishing with his little star, and then the bunny asleep on the cloud with the little bird sitting on his tail. Around the edges of the clouds, I'm going to take a pretty dark blue marker, and then I'm simply blending that out, or kind of moving that ink with a colorless blender to make it really soft but still add definition to the edges. Again, there's really not pops of color on these images. They're either going to have lots of blue, like the little bunny's pajamas and the bird, or shades of warm gray in the neutral, with just a little bit of blue around the edges of the clouds. That still makes the moon the prominent feature on this card design. I'm using those same shades of warm gray for the bunnies, warm gray 0015, and then R00 for the insides of the bunny ears and the pink on the cheeks. A little dot detail adds some texture to the bunnies. I added that with warm gray 5, even a little warm gray 1 if I needed to. And the bunny tails are all dotted with warm gray 1. I used a couple of color combinations for the pajamas and the bird. Anything with the pajamas or clouds is B32 and 34, and the bunnies actually ended up being B14 and 16. Once these are cut out, I'm going to go ahead and attach these to my card, this time with foam adhesive. This gives a lot of depth and dimension to the card and is a really easy way to fill in the scene and not have it be completely flat. So the bunny fishing with his star is attached with foam adhesive. The bunny that's going to go up near the top of the card, sleeping in the cloud, is going to be overlapping part of the moon and attached with foam adhesive. And finally, I did stamp and color that last little single individual cloud from the stamp set the same way I did the clouds that I just shared. And we're going to adhere that on the lower left side of the card by the flying bunny. We're outlining the clouds with Nuvo crystal drops in White Blizzard to give them just a tiny touch of sparkle without completely covering the entire thing. And don't forget to add glossy accents to that remaining star there. This cloud is going to hang off the edge of the card base. We will trim off that excess. Go ahead and go around the edge of this cloud as well with our sparkle accent, and that's going to finish up our Wish Upon a Star card design. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this card featuring new stamps from the Mama Elephant March 2019 release. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll catch you next time.